Welcome to another episode of Acroyoga with Super Dave. My name is David. This is my flyer Sandra. Today we are on part 5 of our Catherine's Wheel series, where we will focus on whipping through in Catherine's Wheel. So the first pose that we will teach you is the super free candlestick that you will have to get comfortable with in order to get this washing machine. Okay, my hands come in the same position as if I were to do candlestick, and just focus on kind of pressing into the fingertips to find the balance. So you'll notice my arms initially travel to my feet to get her to stack, and then I find stacking in the arms afterwards.
I'm going to come in with a straight body, keep really tight, slight hollow, looking at my toes.
Good. So you'll be able to do super free candlestick for about 5 to 10 counts. And then moving on to the next progression, we're going to super free into our reverse backward position. So I land my feet just in the same position as if she was landing down from our candlestick. And I'll grab her ankles and land her to the ground.
Coming in with a tight straight body again, I'm going to try to find it for a second before I fall back, keeping my body in a straight plank, coming into backward.
Okay, so from our reverse backward, we are going to transition into bird on hands. So for me, I want to bend my knees. I'm going to put the outer edge of my forearms onto our inner thighs. Okay, as I do so, my fingertips kind of guide her up a little bit. Use my toes, and then slide my hands into position. So I'm going to keep my feet in between her legs, just in case she goes too far forward. I can clamp down with my legs and prevent that from happening. When I feel like I have balance, I'm going to extend my arms or my legs straight. Then we come back down. Okay.
I'm just going to keep my legs a little bit wide as my hips, and engage. When I feel his hands, I'm going to tip forward, bring my legs a little wider, but really engage, and then draw them together. Keep the chest lifted.
Okay, one thing to kind of keep in mind as the base, there are a few kind of breaks for that transition. As she slides forward, I use my shins to slide her, to kind of slow her down on the descent. And then finally the toes, if she goes too far, I'm going to clamp it onto the back of her legs. In terms of hand position for a handbird, generally speaking, you don't want your fingertips to be spread out wide. What you want to be doing instead is to think about handstand, right? You're pressing through the fingertips. So almost the knuckles may come off the ground, right? You have those spider or tented hands. Then we're going to move from our handbird into our bird on feet. Okay. The method that I like to use here is to bring my heels in first. My toes are out wide. That way my knees can bend a lot, almost like happy baby pose. And I'm really going to press into my fingertips as well as my heels, and then slide my toes into position as I extend my legs all the way straight.
Once I come into handbird, I want to keep my chest lifted and my body as tight and still as possible to allow the base to move me and place his feet, keeping my chest lifted.
So that's important for the flyer's gaze. You don't want to be looking down. What you want to do is just kind of look forward with the chest lifted. You want to maintain that position to give the base the best chance to put their feet onto the hips. Okay, so now we're going to take you through the entire washing machine, talk you through it. So we're first going to enter super free candlestick. I'm going to use my toes to guide her over. I land my feet, forearms touch her inner thighs, and then press up with my hands. Press her all the way up.
Finding free for a moment, and then falling back. Legs wide, really engaged. Keep my chest lifted.
Okay, so that is the first version we're going to show you. We're going to also show you the whip version of Catherine's wheel in reverse. Progressions are very much the same, but we're just going to do it in the opposite direction. Here, my thumb is going to be behind her upper back. My fingertips are going to be onto the front of her collarbones. My fingertips are also going to be active in making sure that she doesn't fall back towards my head. Good, and we're going to land the feet to the ground. So this one is a little bit less scary for the flyer to fly because their feet can land onto the ground. If they fall back, the base of his feet are there to support them.
Coming into back bird, I lean back, keep a really tight body, slight hollow. Hold it for a moment, and then when I land, I'm going to try to keep my hips flat until the last moment, and then pike to land on my feet.
Okay, so once you get comfortable with that, so generally speaking, 5 to 10 counts, then you're going to practice the next progression, which is where the base's feet come around and then land onto the hips. Draw. So I catch with the hips, and I use my fingertips to almost flick her chest up to give her that little assistance. Straighten up her legs, and bring her feet to the ground.
I'm going to try to find free and hold it for a moment to give him time to place his feet. And then lift my chest. Core is very engaged.
So basis movement, you're bending your knees in and you're flicking your fingertips forward to lift the flyer's chest, which is almost counterintuitive because generally you want your arms to be in kind of coordination with your legs, but in this case, you gotta bend your knees to receive the flyer, but at the same time push away with your hands to lift the flyer's chest up. So once you get comfortable with that progression, then we're gonna practice reverse bird, sliding into our reverse back bird. So I'm going to bend my knees, very similar to the previous version. Forearms come onto the inner thighs. Use my toes to push, and then slide onto her back. And once again, use overslide, use the feet, clamp the legs down. Then, I'm going to use a different method here in order to get into my reverse back bird. I'll take my feet in between the hands, and then just extend my legs up straight.
I'm going to hold my reverse bird and wait until I feel his hands on my arms. Then I'm going to lift my chest and lean back, legs are engaged and wide. And then they come together, and I use my core to hold backward position.
Perfect. Okay, so once again, base, you initially start with forearms, then slide the hands onto the hips. In terms of legs, I'd like to slow down the flyer with my shins initially, and then my foot acts as a brake. If she goes over top, then my feet starts to press down into her legs. Then we're going to take you through the full entire motion. Speaking through it, or did we figure something? No? Okay.
I forget where I start. It happens.
Good. Then I bend my knees, flick with my fingertips. From here, outer edges of my forearms come, my knees kind of slow down the movement. Feet come onto our lower back, and extend my legs up.
Pause for a moment. Legs come wide. Lift my chest, come back. Hold my shape.
Perfect. Coming down. So with all these washing machines, we like to stress to work really slow first. That way you can start to build the muscle memory to where you put your hands, to where you position your legs, and that makes the transitions a lot smoother. Once you get really good at it, then you'll start to pick up the pace, and then it'll be a lot more fluid. Hopefully you enjoyed the tips in this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Give a thumbs up if you liked the video, and then tune in next time for part 6 of our series. I'll see you then.